Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Richard. My neighbors are doing something with their car, but it's time for me to make a video. So I'm going to have myself some Hooters gin and a tropical 7-Up. We're going to talk about Bugout Bags. For those of you who are uninitiated, I drink in these videos for two reasons. One, because I believe it enhances the video, and two, because I wound up with a stock of older things that I reviewed because I'm a food blogger, and I've come up with this as a methodology of using them up in some kind of reasonable time frame. Oh, I have so much expired soda, you guys just wouldn't believe. Anyway, in addition to that, for every 1,000 subscribers I do purchase one of these bracelets from 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. Now, what is a Bugout bag? Well, if you went online and ordered a Bugout bag, you would get a bag with 3 days of water and food for one person. It might have an emergency whistle in it or some other tools, perhaps, a whistle or perhaps a compass and, emergency blankets, stuff like that. Gin complements this flavor quite nicely, for those of you who are wondering. Now, there was one time, many, many years ago, well, not, almost a decade ago now, I think. Maybe 7 years, maybe 6 years. It was before the pandemic that, my brother went out and he was at a preparedness summit and he decided to purchase a Bugout bag, which had, emergency food and water and those sorts of things in it. And I mean, right now, I'm watching a fire not far from my home that could eventually come down and burn my house down. So, I'm scared as hell, and I might need to bug out. I no longer have the Bugout bag because at some point I opened up that Bugout bag and noticed that the food inside was expired. So my brother and I sat down, and instead of letting it go to waste, we actually ate the food in the Bugout bag. I think I wrote a review, so I guess I could go out there and look at the emergency food. My brother ate most of it, and he ate enough of it to make himself sick. But that was my brother for you. He was always the kind of person who would eat too much. So here's the thing. Bugout bags are more a California thing, because we have the kind of emergencies you have to run away from. But I don't understand them. Because for one thing, do realize that you're buying emergency food that can go bad and that you don't normally eat. So, yeah, I mean, it might just taste bad 10 years down the road, but what you want to do is you want to have a storm chest. And what is a storm chest is what they have back east, and particularly in, tornado country, in places where you have to, hunker down in case of a storm. Like back in the day, you had storm cellars. In parts of the country, you have storm cellars, which are below ground. It's where you hide in the storm. And, what you do is you get a storm chest, and you put in that storm chest food, water, flashlights, all those sorts of things. Okay, but do understand one of the things about the concept. What is on my head? Let's have a small cut or something. Anyway, so do understand one of the things about the concept of this storm chest is that, you have to, at least once a year, you're supposed to go and look at the storm chest and be like, okay, what is it, what's expired, what can I update? Because, like, water, I don't know if I even, I have, okay, so like this is a water bottle, and this is purified drinking water. It should have, yeah, okay. So this expires in 2025, at least I think it does. There should be an expiration date on here. That looks like the closest thing to an expiration date. Wait, no, okay, I got it. Best if used by 20th February 26. So this has an expiration date. Water has an expiration date. Most water is guaranteed for 6 months. And of course, bottled water builds up bacteria after a while. This is less of an issue with distilled water, which you can purchase. It's more expensive. Or you can just do as I do. Always have yourself a bottle of spirits online so that you can sterilize your water with a good shot. Alcohol definitely can be an emergency supply if you're using alcohol that does not go bad. And, it can be made to make things work. But for one thing, like if I had to leave my home right now, I could probably drive somewhere where there would be food. So I don't know how important food, if you're stuck in your house, you need food. If you leave your house, typically speaking, all the restaurants are still there, all the markets are still there. You don't necessarily need that. It's one of those concepts that if you're going to have a bug out kit, okay, your bug out kit should be a suitcase. And it should be packed with things like underwear, clothing, toilet paper. Why? Because you want to be carrying things. I mean, yes, in the worst case scenario, like for example, there's a war. Yeah, all right, you're going to need food. But how likely is that? The most likely scenario for me living in Southern California is that there might be a wildfire and I'd be forced to leave my home. Okay, so what I would want, of course, is several days worth of clothing because, they're going to have food wherever I go. Like, I've had a couple of people say, hey man, like my cousin, she's like, look, if you got to leave your house, she lives in Ohio, come down, you can come right down to my place, I'll put you up, don't worry. And I'm like, that's fine and all, but driving to Ohio, it's an option. I have a friend in Tennessee, Tristan. He was like, hey bro, come down, stay with me for a couple of days. Perfectly cool. And I'm like, yeah, of course, to be flatly honest with you, I have a friend in Irvine, in Irvine, where I could probably crash on his couch for a few days if I needed to. And we'd be good drinking buddies for a couple of days. Haven't seen him in years, but, We talk all the time online. So I don't have to go that far to find accommodations. It's not that big of a deal. My pets would be more the issue. But that's that thing about Bugout Bags. Yeah, I've actually put a couple of them on my. Told you they're working on their car. I've put a couple of them on my Amazon wish list. More because if somebody were to buy those things for me, I would review the contents. I would review the bag. I'd look at the bag and assess its usefulness. Okay? And, it's just one of those things that you guys should always be aware of is if you're going to pack a bag of anything, should probably be clothes. Because you need clothes, and if you're going somewhere, like if there's an emergency, you got to leave the house, you need to have those clothes, okay? That's it. That's how the world works. Okay, so there you have Bugout Bags. And even then, guys, something you should be aware of. That if your clothes are sitting in a bag, okay. Let's just say you go to a laundromat once a week, or I don't know how often you go to a laundromat. I don't know about those things. I have, a washing machine. But maybe once a month or whenever you go to the laundromat, unpack that bag, put those clothes back into circulation, repack the bag with fresh stuff. And the reason for that is you don't want annoying neighbors who drive their cars when you're trying to make a video. But the reason is you don't want that stuff to get stale. It's just one more stressor. Fresh, clean clothing. My experience is the thing you're going to need the most is underwear. You can wear dirty socks a lot longer than you can wear dirty underwear. All right. So a bag, if you're gonna, you have just a few minutes to grab whatever you can. Grab yourself a couple extra pairs of underwear. That would be a thing. Other essentials like toilet paper, and just the things that you just think of, like, what am I going to need in 24 hours? That's the best things to have. You can go 40 days without food. You don't really need food that badly. If you're really leaving because it's a danger, your question would be, which is more important, water or food? It's obviously water. Water you're going to die without in 3 days. Food, it's 40 days. You can go quite a while without, me even longer. It's just one of those things. So yeah, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a Bugout bag. Bugout bags are fine. Just understand that for one thing, a commercial Bugout bag is not going to have the things you personally will need, like socks and underwear. You should do that with your own stuff. On the one hand, you could put your brand new socks and underwear into a Bugout bag, or you could put the old socks and underwear. Like, if you've got a pair of underwear with a hole in it, be like, well, I could throw this out, but I already washed it. All right, well, that's a perfect thing for a Bugout bag, because underwear with holes in it is better than stinky underwear. You know what I mean? So I'm just making the point here that I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having preparedness food. Okay, but one, if you have preparedness food, be prepared to eat it. And maybe you have your preparedness week where you eat food from your preparedness kit and then buy a new preparedness kit. Okay? The best thing you can do to have food in an emergency is be familiar with that food so that in an emergency, you can eat it. You know what you're doing. And then it's like, just have the things that are important to you. You want to always have a certain amount of toilet paper on hand. I mean, I remember when there was the toilet paper scare and everybody bought toilet paper, and I had already bought toilet paper at Costco, so I was fine. I mean, I think I buy toilet paper once every 6 months. But that's, that's me. Anyway, thank you for sharing this moment with me. I'm Richard. Hey, Astro, did you hear about the restaurant on the moon? Yeah, Nance, I heard the food was good, but it had no atmosphere. Now that was a corny joke, but you know what isn't a joke? A clean environment. And this channel will buy one of these bracelets I'm holding from 4Ocean for every 1,000 subscribers it gets. So you should comment, like, and subscribe. Support us so we can support a better world.